On the evening of January 27, 2008, in the town of Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, 12-year-old Karissa Paige Boudreau disappeared under mysterious circumstances. It was believed that she'd run away after an argument with her mother, Penny Boudreau, during a trip to a local supermarket. The investigation took a surprising turn, and the community was left in shock at what was unraveled. So what led to Karissa's untimely death? What really happened that fateful day? Hi, and welcome back to Mysterious 7, friends. Today we're looking at the case of Karissa Paige Boudreau. But first, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon below. And don't forget to like and share. Without any further ado, let's dive right into this mystery. Bridgewater is a coastal town in Nova Scotia, Canada that's nestled along the La Have River. With a population of more than 8,000 people, it's the largest town in the South Shore region. While Bridgewater is known more as a center of commerce and industry, it does offer a number of cultural events. These include the annual Bridgewater Garden Party, Christmas on La Have, and the Growing Green Sustainability Festival. Amidst the bustling activities and peaceful surroundings, an unfortunate incident occurred, a crime that shook the peaceful atmosphere of this small town. Karissa Paige Boudreau was born on the 4th of October 1995 in Yarmouth County, Nova Scotia, Canada. Her parents were Penny and Paul Boudreau. Karissa was known for being friendly and always having a bright smile on her face. She found solace and joy in the little pleasures of life. She loved playing games on her Nintendo DS, swimming, collecting stuffed animals, reading books, and listening to music by the Spice Girls, Miley Cyrus, and Hilary Duff. But there was one dream that burned bright within Karissa's heart. She often spoke passionately about her desire to become a veterinarian, dedicating her life to caring for and healing the furry and feathery creatures. As the pages of Karissa's life turned, the path ahead took an unexpected turn. At some point, circumstances led to her parents' separation. Yet, despite this change, Karissa was fortunate enough to continue enjoying the affection of both her parents. For a period of time, Karissa found herself temporarily residing with her father in Shelburne County. However, by early 2008, she settled fully with her mother, Penny, in her two-bedroom apartment in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. At the time, Penny had a boyfriend named Vernon McCumber who also lived with them in their apartment. In her new environment, Karissa started attending Bridgewater Elementary School as a 6th grade student. Life seemed to be going smoothly for Karissa and her family. However, destiny, with its mischievous grin, had other plans in store. On a chilly January evening, the 27th of January 2008 to be exact, a mother's heart sank as she dialed the Bridgewater Police Department. That mother was Penny, and she had a distressing revelation to share. Her 12-year-old daughter Karissa was missing. It all started earlier that day when Penny and Karissa had a heated argument. At around 5:30 p.m., they found themselves parked outside the Bridgewater Mall. In the midst of their disagreement, Karissa decided to stay in the car while Penny went into the Sobeys store located within the mall to pick up a few things. After approximately 15 minutes, she returned to the car. However, to her dismay, Karissa was no longer there. She immediately began searching the area, hoping to find her daughter nearby. As the minutes turned into an hour, the realization sank in that Karissa was nowhere to be found. With a heavy heart and a growing sense of dread, Penny returned home, desperately hoping that Karissa would soon reappear. However, as the clock neared 8:30 p.m. and there was still no sign of her daughter, Penny made the difficult decision to contact the police. In the aftermath of the distressing phone call, the search for Karissa sprang into action. Police and family members banded together, determined to locate her. They conducted thorough searches and even employed the help of a rescue dog. The night was filled with worry, as everyone anxiously awaited any leads or information that would bring Karissa home. The town of Bridgewater held its breath, hoping for a resolution to the mystery, and a family clung to hope, longing for Karissa's safe return. However, all search efforts that day yielded no success, leaving investigators with a disheartening realization. It appeared that Karissa had run away. One aspect that troubled the police was the fact that Karissa was ill-prepared for the harsh weather conditions at the time of her disappearance. Clad in a black hoodie, a black vest, and blue jeans, she was not dressed appropriately for the biting cold that gripped the area. The morning of January 28, 2008 arrived with a sense of urgency. The officers of the Bridgewater Police Department recognized the gravity of the situation and took decisive action. They reached out to other police services, spreading the word far and wide in their relentless search for Karissa. The quest for answers soon became a public affair. Investigators thoroughly examined surveillance tapes from businesses around the Bridgewater Mall, and these offered glimpses into the moments leading up to Karissa's disappearance. They pieced together the account provided by Karissa's mother, Penny, confirming that she had indeed been in the Sobeys as she'd reported. However, a disheartening reality emerged. There were no surveillance cameras in the mall's parking lot. Without this, they were unable to confirm if Karissa had been present or which direction she might have taken should she have left the area. The absence of this concrete evidence posed a challenge, but it only fueled the investigators' determination. They remained resolute, unwilling to give up on the search for Karissa. The dawn of January 29, 2008 brought forth a critical development in the search for Karissa. Penny, Karissa's mother, took center stage in a press conference, her eyes welled up with tears, her voice quivering with emotion. With raw vulnerability, she pleaded for her daughter's safe return, urging Karissa to make contact and let them know she was okay.
Really what to say, and I hope she's listening. I don't know if I can do this.
It's okay.
We all love you. We all love Karissa. We love you. Her grandparents are looking for you. All of us are. I don't know where you are, but just come home or call or something, please. All your friends are looking for you, and we're all worried. We just want you home safe. It's not like we're going to get mad. We just want you home safe. Please.
During the press conference, Penny shared more details about the day Karissa disappeared. She revealed that she had taken Karissa for a drive, hoping for a heart-to-heart conversation to address some underlying issues. Penny disclosed that Karissa had been unhappy with their current living situation and struggled to make friends since their move to Bridgewater. Unfortunately, their conversation took an unfortunate turn, escalating into an argument over seemingly trivial matters. In attendance at the press conference was also Paul, Karissa's father, his presence symbolizing the united front of a desperate family. With a heavy heart, he joined Penny in making a plea to his daughter, urging her to come home. Their emotional appeal resonated deeply, touching the hearts of not only those present in the room, but also the wider community. As darkness settled on the day of the emotionally charged press conference, a glimmer of hope emerged. A tip had reached the ears of the officers, a piece of information that held the potential to bring them closer to Karissa. Though the details of the tips aren't known, its significance was undeniable. With a renewed sense of purpose, the Lunenburg County Ground Search and Rescue Team sprang into action. Guided by the tip, their footsteps led them to William Hebb Road in Hebbville. The night air was heavy with anticipation as they combed the area, their eyes scanning every inch of the area. 4 hours later, their efforts had turned up nothing. As the search for that day came to a close, a profound sense of disappointment mingled with their unwavering resolve. Meanwhile, the community was also playing its own part in the search for Karissa. Concerned parents joined forces, utilizing social media platforms to raise awareness and share information about her disappearance. Their efforts created a network of support, providing a platform for individuals to come together and offer assistance to Karissa's mother, Penny. Donations poured in, demonstrating the community's commitment to helping in any way possible. Throughout Bridgewater and beyond, missing person posters featuring Karissa's photos were prominently displayed. They served as a constant reminder of her absence, urging anyone with information to step forward. On January 31, 2008, 2 police officers conducted an extensive search in various locations. Using a Department of Natural Resources helicopter, they scoured the Le Havre River, the Bridgewater Mall, and the wooded areas surrounding the town. Despite their thorough search, no evidence pertaining to Karissa's disappearance was found. On February 1, 2008, the stage was set for another press conference. Penny, Karissa's mother, took center stage once again, her voice filled with a mix of despair and determination.
I'm just here to reach out to my daughter. Karissa, I just want to tell you that you have lots of people who love you and want you home. Your Aunt April is here, your mom is here, your dad, Shane, Vernon, your Uncle Joey, your Aunt Chrissy, your friend Sarah's worried sick, everybody at school, your grandmothers, everybody. Please just reach out to someone. At least call us and let you know you're okay. We all love you. If there's anybody out there that knows, has seen her or anything, please call. Um, the other thing I want to say is I want to thank everyone in the community that's been a support, all the businesses we both work for, and the community in general. It's been very comforting. Nothing can be done to make things better, but it's comforting to have support. The main thing is I just want somebody to come forward. If not Karissa herself, somebody, let me know. It's hard to not know where your kid is.
Through tear-filled eyes, she made another heartfelt plea, her words echoing the anguish of a parent longing for her child's safe return. She expressed the indescribable pain of not knowing where her daughter was. Alongside Penny, the police stood, a steadfast presence in their commitment to finding Karissa. They addressed the public, emphasizing that, so far, there is no evidence pointing to any harm coming to Karissa. The words offered a glimmer of hope amid a sea of uncertainties. In the days following the press conference, the search for Karissa escalated. Divers braved the icy waters of the Le Havre River, combing the area behind the Bridgewater Mall and downstream to Shipyards Landing. By February 6, 2008, their search was complete, and the police announced that they were confident Karissa was not in the river. The police continued their relentless pursuit of leads on February 7, 2008. Tips poured in from across the Maritimes, with possible sightings of Karissa reported. Each lead was thoroughly investigated as the community held on to hope for a breakthrough. However, despite their tireless efforts, Karissa remained elusive. On February 9, 2008, a twist of fate unfolded. A motorist passing through the area stumbled upon a chilling discovery. Partially covered in snow on the bank of the Le Havre River, just outside the confines of Bridgewater town limits in Conquerall Bank, lay a lifeless body. The time was approximately 11:30 a.m. News of the discovery spread like wildfire, and soon forensic investigators descended upon the scene. Meanwhile, the police made a call to Karissa's family, informing them of the heartbreaking news that human remains had been found. However, they held back on releasing further details to the public, leaving many questions unanswered. The following day, February 10, 2008, the police cautiously confirmed that the recovered body belonged to a young white female. However, they emphasized that an identification would only come after the completion of an autopsy. Amid this emotional roller coaster, dozens of people gathered at the Sobeys parking lot for a prayer vigil dedicated to Karissa. They stood together, uncertain of whether the remains belonged to their beloved Karissa. However, in the days that followed, the truth unraveled. Through examination of dental records, the body found along the riverbank was conclusively identified as Karissa. An autopsy on February 13, 2008, revealed something disturbing. She had been strangled. There was some relief that no signs of abuse were found. At the same time, this also perplexed investigators, especially given the disturbing detail that her jeans and underwear had been pulled down when she was discovered. On February 14, 2008, the police held a press conference to confirm to the public that the body belonged to Karissa, turning the missing person case into a homicide investigation. The community was left stunned by this revelation, as her tragic murder marked the first in Bridgewater in almost 20 years. That very day, 3 residents of Bridgewater were taken into custody for questioning, causing a stir in the town. Though the police remained tight-lipped about their identities, they emphasized that the murder was not a random act and suggested that Karissa had some connection to her killer. Yet by the next day, the tension escalated as the news broke that all 3 individuals arrested had been released without any charges filed against them. On February 16, 2008, the Nova Scotia Medical Examiner's Office released Karissa's body to her father, Paul Boudreau. In a touching display of remembrance, the place where Karissa was found became a heartfelt memorial. Mourners paid their respects by leaving countless trinkets, toys, and flowers, honoring the life that was lost. On February 19, 2008, grief filled the air as hundreds of people gathered in Shelburne County to bid farewell to Karissa. This small town was where her father and grandparents still resided. The solemn funeral service was led by Reverend Perry Ingersoll. During the service, a slideshow capturing the precious moments Karissa had shared with her loved ones was shown, as tears streamed down the faces of those present. 2 of Karissa's aunts stepped forward to read poems, offering solace and words of comfort to the grieving crowd. When all was said and done, Karissa was finally laid to rest in the cemetery in Clark's Harbor. 4 days later, on February 23, 2008, Bridgewater came together to mourn Karissa at a heartfelt memorial service organized by 9 churches. The town had embraced her as their own, considering her Bridgewater's daughter. Following her daughter's funeral, Penny relocated to Halifax, a city situated about 80 kilometers away from Bridgewater. She made the move, perhaps seeking a fresh start in a different place. In the aftermath of all these, investigators dedicated themselves to the relentless pursuit of justice. Weeks passed by in a blur as they sifted through every piece of evidence, tirelessly following up on leads and tips that poured in from the community. Determined to bring closure to this tragic case, they worked around the clock, driven by a shared sense of duty to find the person responsible for ending Karissa's life. The local coffee shops buzzed with discussions about the crime, as concerned individuals sought answers and solace in shared conversations. Now, as the investigation unfolded, a troubling possibility began to emerge. Investigators started to harbor suspicions that Penny, Karissa's own mother, may have been involved in her daughter's tragic death. These concerns were heightened by reports from neighbors who described a disturbing incident that occurred in Penny's apartment just days after Karissa's body was discovered. According to witnesses, there was a heated exchange between Penny and her boyfriend, Vernon, inside the apartment. The neighbors could hear their voices escalating, accompanied by the sound of running water. It seemed that Penny was in the bathtub while Vernon expressed his refusal to help her with something. Their argument echoed through the walls, with Vernon repeatedly questioning Penny, expressing his disgust, and threatening to leave her. The exact details of their conversation remained unclear, but these events raised serious red flags for the investigators. Due to these concerning developments, the investigators turned their focus towards Penny and Vernon. The once tragic case now took a chilling turn, as the investigation began exploring the complexities of family dynamics and the secrets that lay hidden behind closed doors. In a strategic move, undercover agents infiltrated Vernon's life, masquerading as members of a notorious crime syndicate. Gaining his trust, they engaged in conversations about Karissa's murder. Vernon denied any involvement in the crime. However, he confided in them about his suspicions regarding Penny's potential role. He admitted that he was keeping a close eye on her to protect himself from any potential implication in the crime. This revelation added a new layer of complexity to the investigation. As investigators turned their focus to Penny, a chilling revelation awaited them. Undercover officers, just like in Vernon's case, assumed the role of crime syndicate members and approached Penny. They promised her assistance if she would admit to the unimaginable, the murder of her own daughter and the details surrounding it. Shockingly, in June of 2008, Penny fell into their trap. Unaware of the hidden cameras capturing every word, she confessed to a crime that would send shivers down anyone's spine. In her chilling admission, Penny recounted the events of that fateful evening. She revealed that she and Karissa had driven to a local grocery store where she first made a call to Vernon, fabricating a story about Karissa's disappearance. Deceiving her innocent daughter, Penny then drove her to a desolate road and coldly ordered her to step out of the car. It was there, in the darkness and isolation, that Penny's true nature emerged. With a heart filled with darkness, Penny forcefully pushed Karissa to the ground. She took a piece of twine and she wrapped this tightly around Karissa's neck. She then mercilessly choked the life out of her own flesh and blood. In a haunting moment, Karissa pleaded, "Mommy, don't." But Penny remained deaf to her desperate cries. After taking Karissa's life, Penny placed her body in the trunk of the car and drove around, contemplating her next steps. She discarded the twine at a coffee house before disposing of Karissa's body near the icy La Have River. Penny also removed some of Karissa's clothing to create the appearance of abuse. She later discarded these items along with one of Karissa's sandals in a garbage can at a local swimming pool. When questioned about her motive for killing her own daughter, Penny revealed a shocking truth. She confessed that her boyfriend, Vernon, had issued her an ultimatum, forcing her to choose between him and her daughter. In a twisted display of devotion, Penny admitted that she would do anything to keep Vernon by her side. The thought of losing him was more unbearable to her than the unimaginable act of taking her own child's life. The depths of Penny's motivation for the crime were truly disturbing, highlighting the lengths she was willing to go for the sake of her relationship. On June 14, 2008, Penny was taken into custody and formally charged with the first-degree murder of her own daughter. The news of the arrest spread like wildfire, leaving residents stunned and struggling to comprehend the horrifying reality. Among those deeply affected was Karissa's father, Paul, who was devastated to learn that Penny had known the truth about their daughter's fate all along. The weight of the betrayal and the loss weighed heavily on him as he tried to come to terms with the unfathomable actions of the woman he once loved. Meanwhile, in the wake of Penny's arrest, Vernon was interviewed by authorities. He vehemently denied ever giving Penny an ultimatum, refuting her claim and maintaining his innocence. Instead, he explained that he'd expressed concerns about the incessant arguing between Penny and Karissa, suggesting that something needed to be done to address the escalating tension. Vernon professed that he had no inkling of the dark path Penny would ultimately take. On June 16, 2008, Penny made her first court appearance. Clutching a tissue in her trembling hands, she wept uncontrollably, unable to utter a word as the murder charge was read aloud. The room was heavy with the collective grief and disbelief surrounding the tragic loss of young Karissa. As Penny was escorted out of the courthouse, a crowd had gathered outside, their emotions running high. Taunts of child killer and murderer filled the air. On December 4, 2008, Penny found herself in Bridgewater courtroom. An air of tension filled the room as she sat, rocking back and forth. Lawyers engaged in discussions about the upcoming court proceedings, determining dates for future appearances. Ultimately, the court set her next appearance for January 30, 2009, leaving Penny with a daunting wait until she would face the full weight of the legal process once more. On January 30, 2009, the courtroom was filled with tense anticipation as Penny entered her plea of guilty to the reduced charge of second-degree murder. The decision to accept the plea deal was made to avoid a lengthy trial. Dressed in a black t-shirt and jeans, Penny wept uncontrollably throughout the entire hearing. During the proceedings, Karissa's father, Paul, shared a victim impact statement, his words resonating with profound grief. He wrote of how his happiness had been shattered, his hopes and dreams obliterated by a single selfish act.
You know, for a parent to just make that decision, I still can't comprehend it. She had many options. There was many people around her that would have gladly, you know, had I known this was going to happen, I would never ever let her go back. But I mean, what parent's going to try to, say, no, you can't go back and see your mother?
As the moment for sentencing arrived, Justice Margaret Stewart, the presiding judge, cast a glance at Penny and uttered words that pierced through the courtroom's heavy atmosphere. "You can never call yourself a mother," she stated firmly. Finally, the sentence was delivered. Penny was condemned to spend the rest of her life behind bars, with no possibility of parole for 20 years from the date of her arrest. As the weight of her punishment settled upon her, Penny rose briefly to address the court, her voice barely audible. "I'm sorry," she whispered. As Paul stepped outside the courtroom, his emotions still raw from the proceedings, he couldn't help but express his profound frustration and disbelief. He spoke with a mix of anger and sadness, accusing Penny of shedding nothing but crocodile tears over the loss of their daughter. Paul also couldn't help but question Penny's choices. He wondered why she didn't consider the option of allowing their daughter to live with him or another caring family member. In the aftermath, Vernon expressed his deep sorrow over Karissa's death in an interview. He shared how much she meant to him and the immense guilt he felt for not being able to protect her. Vernon also mentioned the difficulties he faced in finding employment due to his association with the case, which led him down a path of drinking.
Have a terrible thing like this happen, it just was hard on me. People thought I'd done something, and I had to live with that. Even with the work, I had to leave Bridgewater, and because people had their opinions about me. And I've had it affected me trying to get a job as well down here. Every time I applied for a place or something, they knew about what went on, and they had their own decision about that, right? So I had a hard time getting work as well.
Meanwhile, Paul was determined to move forward and not let the tragic loss of his daughter define his life. Visiting Bridgewater, where the crime occurred, was initially overwhelming for him due to anxiety. "I had so much anxiety that I couldn't even pull in the exit," Paul said. However, over time, he managed to overcome his fears and rebuild his life in Shelburne. He found love and companionship with a woman named Kim, and together they cherished the memory of Karissa. Paul made sure the daughter they had together, Carmi, knew about her deceased older sister. The case of Karissa's murder serves as a reminder of the depths of human darkness and the complexities of human relationships. It prompts us to reflect on the importance of nurturing and protecting the vulnerable, and the consequences of choices driven by misplaced priorities or desperation. As we close this chapter, one question lingers. If the police had not employed strategic measures to uncover the truth, Do you believe Penny would have ever eventually confessed to the act of taking her own daughter's life? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.